Bucknuts. It's Thursday, April 14th, 2016. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change, here with Steve Wiltfong. If I'm dragging a little bit because I was on West Coast time last night trying to take in the Kobe experience. Glad I stayed up. Steve, did you catch it, or are you a highlights guy this morning?
Oh, man, I tried. My wife's out of town. I'm a one-man show. I was laying in bed, flipping back and forth from the Lakers to the Blackhawks to the Lakers to the Blackhawks. I didn't finish either of them. Was very sad that I didn't finish the Lakers game, but caught every basket before I got out of bed on my phone. And that's pretty special. I tell you what, he turned it on with a minute to go. I mean, obviously he scored 60, but just to go out like that, to be that competitor till there was triple zeros and hit all those big buckets when they were down with 2 minutes to go and really finish his career with a flurry like that was awesome. It was better. The Derek Jeter game was awesome, where he got the game-winning hit to end his career at Yankee Stadium. This may have been better than that for me. It was cool.
I'm not a traditional Kobe guy. I appreciate his greatness and his toughness. That was awesome. Like you said, the fact that he did it in a win, they were trailing the whole game, and he kind of brought them back. Which is very cool. Very reminds me sometimes why I chose sports as a profession. I'm glad I did it. Another reason I'm glad I did it is because I get to cover the Buckeyes, which has been 50-4, pretty darn good. This weekend, huge event this weekend, obviously the spring game. Those of you who have checked your weather widget on your phone should see that you may even have to wear some sunscreen. We're looking at 70, clear skies. An absolutely ideal day for some cheap football, $5 tickets. It's a bucket list event, folks. I'm telling you. I'm sorry?
100,000 people in the shoe for the spring game. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think they get over 100,000 based on Urban's vocal and public requests and the fact that the weather forecast has been so good that people will plan ahead. And we've said this before, if you want to take in the Ohio State experience, this is a good day to do it. Not as expensive as a day during the year. You're guaranteed of some better weather here. Don't have to worry about the fall. So if you can get to this, even if you're one of those guys who's never, or families or something who's never seen a tailgate experience, this is the time to do it. It will be a wonderful day. We're going to talk recruiting first and some guys who will be at the spring game. But we wanted to touch on two guys. Just let you comment real quickly, who at one point in time seemed like they were going to be Buckeyes, high-profile guys. Now we're not so sure. Joshua Kando, the defensive lineman out of IMG, originally from Maryland, and Trevon Grimes at St. Thomas Aquinas. Just a quick up-to-speed on those two dudes.
Well, Trevon Grimes told 24/7 Sports National Insider Ryan Bartow it was either earlier this week or late last week, that Ohio State was still his leader. So still feel good about the Buckeyes for the Midwest native. He's from Indianapolis. I believe he would have played high school football with Hunter Johnson, who's the Clemson commit and our number one quarterback in the country. They would have went to the same school, but he ended up moving down to Florida. But one of Trayvon's best friends goes to Brownsburg High School now, where Hunter plays, and when he comes up to the Midwest, that's where he stays, and they all get to spend time together. But anyways, Ohio State still looks like they're the team to beat for Trayvon. I haven't heard anything different yet. He's taking visits. He's enjoying the process. But we also know it's not like Ohio State's let up in their efforts to recruit him. And I'm sure he's keeping in regular contact with Zach Smith and Urban Meyer and the staff. And like I said, he told Ryan Bartow that Ohio State's still his leader. Kando's the one that's a little weird to me, because when I went down to the Orlando Nike camp, all the buzz was Ohio State for Kando. When you were naming early leaders. But then he goes on a spring tour here, and he sees Maryland and goes up to Penn State, and he's scheduled to be at Notre Dame this weekend. And obviously Ohio State's not on that list, so unless he did a visit to Ohio State that's just not publicly out there, it makes you a little less confident in your pick of Ohio State, even though when you talk to a bunch of people in Orlando at the Nike camp about it, Ohio State was sitting in a good position at that time. Recruiting ebbs and flows, and Right now it doesn't seem to be flowing in the right direction for Kendo, but that's just the perception. Who knows what the real reality is? But yeah, on the surface, that crystal ball pick for the Buckeyes isn't looking as strong as I thought it was.
Definitely one we'll have to keep an eye on. Again, guys who are from Maryland that go to IMG, that is the definition of the Wild West to me. So we'll stay tuned on that one. We want to focus, on three guys who will be here at the spring game. Obviously, anyone who's been following Bill Kerwitz's coverage knows that it's going to be an all-star affair, and Bill has covered this 6 ways to Saturday. But we want to talk about three guys who will be here that we find interesting. Number one, this is an easy one, Najee Harris, the running back out of California. Maybe give the people a comparison of who he might remind you of a little bit, of a guy we've seen in recent years, and then if you think the Buckeyes really have a chance.
Well, Najee Harris is the number one player in the country per 24/7 Sports, an Alabama commit. It's easy to just quickly say Derrick Henry or Bo Scarborough because that's where he's committed. And he's a humongous young man that had a very productive junior year, over 2,000 yards rushing in California. But I got a chance to spend some time with Najee in Las Vegas at the Pylon 7-on-7 National Championships, talk to his coach, talk to some people that know him. Ohio State's intriguing to him, especially with the success that they've had with their last two starting running backs, both a chance to, if Ezekiel finishes the way we think he is, both have a chance to be the first running back taken in the NFL draft. Ezekiel Elliott is definitely fresh on Najee's mind as a type of college career he'd like to have. I think he is coming to Ohio State with an open mind, and so we'll see what the Buckeyes do here. Najee's a different kind of cat. He's just coming on the campus and it's all about the feel for him. How's he get along with the people, and what's he going to feel like when he gets to campus? Right now, we don't know, and so we'll see how it goes. But I do think he has an open mind regarding the Buckeyes, and I do think that the Buckeyes are in it to be a contender to flip them from Alabama.
Yeah, for those who haven't watched Najee Harris's highlight tape, it should be called Man Among Boys. That's what I would call it.
For me, I still think that you can make the debate that Cam Akers is the top running back in the country, and he just put up a big spark score down in New Orleans, and he's an absolute freak as well. And Ohio State in the mix with Ole Miss and Tennessee and Georgia for the former Alabama commit there too. One-time Alabama commit Cam Akers. It's kind of absurd to think that they were both in the same class at one point, but Ohio State in it for the two of the nation's best, and already have another one of the nation's best, obviously, in J.K. Dobbins. Now they're just looking for that compliment.
No doubt. I would say Akers and Harris would kind of be redundant, so I can see why. Akers, let's hope neither one ends up in Alabama. Another high-profile skill player we've talked about ad nauseum here, Donovan Peoples-Jones will be here this weekend. There was some, it's been almost like gospel that Trevon Grimes has been the number one receiver in the class. But over the past few months, it seems like DPJ has passed him up. Your thoughts on that, and if this is going to come down to Urban versus Jimmy?
Well, Donovan Peoples-Jones is the number one receiver according to the 24/7 Sports Composite, the industry-generated rankings. So obviously, when you add up Scout, Rivals, ESPN, and 24/7 Sports, he comes out number one. The number one receiver on 24/7 Sports is T. Higgins, who's just an amazing talent out of Tennessee. But there's several names in the discussion, Trevon Grimes obviously being another one. No one's as athletic as Donovan Peoples-Jones, as he put up the best Nike football rating at the opening last year with a fantastic showing that really, we had him in our top 25 at that point. I think we were ahead of the curve with Donovan, but everyone was easily able to catch up once they saw him post that number. I spoke with Donovan this week about Ohio State specifically because he made a short visit to campus last weekend while he was in the area, and Ohio State, he said they're going to be contender till the end. Ohio State was first to offer, speaking of being ahead of the curve. the Buckeyes were way out in front for Donovan Peoples-Jones. First to offer. He's been on campus several times. He's participated in Friday Night Lights, not this past year, but 2 years ago. Has really connected with Zach Smith. Coach Combs recruits Detroit with a lot of passion and energy, and Coach Meyer is certainly very involved. So the triple threat that Ohio State always brings when they're recruiting their top targets is in play here. And Donovan told me that he's been wanting to go to Ohio State's spring game for a long time. That's been on his list. The one thing to maybe pay attention to is, and Donovan wasn't sure what was happening, but the Cass Tech crew is also trying to fit in a visit to Notre Dame. And Donovan said that if his head coach changes things on him at the end of the week, he may not be at Ohio State, but right now the plan is Ohio State. Now, that was all on Tuesday, I think it was, when I talked to him. So things may be firmed up now, but I don't have that information.
Probably won't hurt if DPJ sees Mike Weber and Michael Jordan do quite well in this game. Would you agree?
No, I mean, it definitely doesn't hurt, but he's got friends at a lot of places. He's going to make that decision Donovan's decision, I think it's going to the end. He wants to be an orthopedic surgeon. He's a pretty much an A student. But relationships are also really big for him, and loyalty is also really big for him. And so Ohio State checking a lot of boxes with him. And so speaking, just straight from the Buckeyes' vantage point, it looks like they're in the top 2 or 3 for the 5-star from Detroit Cass Tech.
Yeah, there's no doubt there's going to be a little added intrigue in this one because based on what we've seen so far, if he doesn't pick Ohio State, he's going to pick someone they play against. So that always makes it a little more interesting.
He's a wild card. He's a wild card. He could also go to Stanford. I'm telling you, he could go to Florida. I mean, he really. Sometimes it seems like he's going to go far from the Midwest, and then other times it seems like he's going to stay home and play in the Big Ten. So I just know it's going to go to the end, and he's going to take 5 officials, and I think my crystal ball is on foggy for him after putting an early one in for Michigan. He's got some family connections to Michigan. His dad went to medical school at Michigan, and Michigan's certainly going to recruit the hell out of him too.
Yeah, if he goes to Stanford, I don't think you can blame any kid for doing that, for the education. Florida, I think DPJ and I would have to have a little chat. Another guy that's
Florida fan, though.
I don't care. That's not realistic. There's no quarterbacks. That doesn't make any sense. No quarterback, no pedigree.
Yeah.
I don't care. We'll see what happens. I'll throw cash right now. He doesn't go to Florida. All right, Jackson Carman, stud offensive lineman. Compare him to Josh Myers a little bit. Obviously,